All right, everybody. Good morning to you. Time right now is 9:20.
Is it morning, Carson?
Is it morning?
I don't know what
I
time
don't know
of
what
day
it is
anymore.
Carson Meredith with you alongside 20. Andrew, give you a quick update on what we had to go through last night and what is in store for this second of 4 alert days that we have in a row.
Yeah, so we went. I feel like yesterday was just a lot. Well, I should say this morning was a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we're now switching gears from the severe threat over to the flooding threat. And so many people are continuing to clean up from yesterday's mess. And now we have the rain pouring on top of that, which is not going to add any fun to the situation.
Not at all. Now, the good news, we'll show you radar here in a second, but for a lot of us, at least for now, that rain is, I guess I'll say, manageable.
Yes.
It's not necessarily the heavy, crazy kind of rainfall rates that are going to cause significant flooding issues, but we don't want to let our guards down. We still got at least 3 more days of these rounds of heavier rain. We'll just take the breaks whenever we can.
Yeah, so we have the flood watch all the way until Sunday. We have a number of flood advisories, kind of trying to account for the rivers across our area and those creeks and streams as they're starting to rise. Kentucky, your flooding issue today will be really the one that we're watching. And looking at the numbers about how much rain we got in just in the past 24 hours, anywhere you see a lot of those yellows and oranges is where those totals start to get closer to 2 to 3 inches. And we're just going to add on to it as well. I see a number of people even mentioning this. Someone's asking which one of you had sleep last night. The answer is neither one of us.
None.
Because we were both sheltering yesterday from work. I can't even get my day straight. This morning from the tornado that moved through parts of the metro. So this is what the radar looks like right now, by the way. And yeah, this is what we're going to be dealing with. The rain, as you mentioned, tapering off a little bit across the area.
Right. And it's central Kentucky today that we have to watch for the heaviest rain and the flooding concern. You're going to get breaks from time to time. It's going to be these waves of heavy rain that kind of ebb and flow depending on where the placement of the stalled front is going to be. Right now, that front is down to our south, closer to Nashville, where they've had all kinds of issues this morning.
Man, but there's one town in Tennessee, you can remind me of
Selmer.
Yes.
Selmer.
Got hit twice by massive tornadoes last night. So yeah, we're certainly thinking about them. We're thinking about the people in Arkansas and of course people in our area who had to deal with that mess yesterday. Just kind of recapping what we saw radar wise yesterday, if this wants to work with me. So last night around 10 o'clock is when we started to see the line of storms moving in. We started to get those tornado warnings for Du Bois County.
Right.
And then as we had further towards 11 p.m., midnight, start to approach the metro. This is when you and I started to wake up. And we were like, well, here we go.
Yep.
And that line moved through the area. This is when we got the tornado warnings across the metro. We had that damage in J-Town.
Yes.
This is when you and I were
Well, I stayed at my parents' last night because I live in an apartment complex in the second floor. I didn't want to chance it. So I stayed at their place because they have a basement. Tornado warning came out, what was it, around midnight, just after midnight? And that tornado, that debris, if you were watching the guys, Kevin, Brian, and Ryan on their live coverage, that debris ball showed up right at the intersection of 64 and the Snyder.
Yep.
My parents' house is less than a mile from that. So it was
it's very certainly
close.
A close call for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And thankfully I haven't heard about any injuries with this either.
We have not heard any injuries in our area. Obviously, that's a much different story to our south and west, but at least in our area, we have not heard any damage reports. We keep going through the radar. You notice that line of storms continue to cause problems across central Kentucky. We had a few more tornado warnings. I believe Nelson County had a tornado warning. Going back further north earlier in the evening, we do believe that there was also a tornado touchdown in Washington County, Indiana, crossed into Scott County. I haven't heard any damage up there. Have you?
No, I saw some reports from Jennings County from some of the strong wind there. And of course, I know everybody in Floyd County is concerned because they had a lot of power outages yesterday as well. So yeah, we're going to be going through. And by the way, the National Weather Service is going to take some time to survey these scenes. So if you can even send in photos to help them out, that would be the big part because they have so much to deal with the flooding and more severe weather. and they are a little bit understaffed as of right now. So it's going to take them some time to actually come out. So by the way, if you are wondering, thinking about, hey, later on today we'll find out how strong this tornado was.
Not.
It's probably going to take us a couple of days before we get an actual number in relation to that. So thankfully now things are a lot quieter. We have the front stalling out across the region right now. So thankfully only one severe thunderstorm warning.
Right.
Just seeing that, I call it a conga line, like the worst parade in history of tornado warnings last night, early this morning, just tracking through Nashville. They had like 2 hours straight of tornado warnings, storm after storm after storm, moving through.
And that's basically where the front is stalled out right now, Middle Tennessee. And that's also where the heaviest rainfall is going to be throughout this entire ordeal, not just today, but also into tomorrow and into Saturday. And depending on where that front goes, that's when you're going to see those periods of heaviest rain. And that's also when we have to watch for a few severe storms. But let's be clear, the severe risk here on out is not nearly as intense as it was last night. It's quite a bit lower.
That's the one saving grace we can take out of this. We still got to be very weather aware. While the slight risk is for areas basically along and south of 64, we're really watching south of the parkways because that's where we have the best chance to see some of those strong to severe storms. But even for our southern Indiana counties right along the river, you still want to be weather aware just in case one of two of these storms become a little bit stronger. You want to make sure that you're staying weather aware, especially after everything we already went through yesterday. Can you
You okay? We're tired, folks.
Just a little tired. And then I tried to have caffeine, and y'all know caffeine and I don't always agree that well. So here's where we are. So breaking down the severe threat a little bit more, watching that tornado threat for our southernmost counties. So we were talking about Hart, Greene, Taylor, Adair counties. This is where we really have to watch for that tornado threat, not as much towards the Louisville metro. But don't worry, just because you're south of Louisville doesn't mean we're not going to be paying attention to you. We will be here as long as we need to.
There's kind of a couple windows today, one of which is later this afternoon as that front starts to lift back to the north. And then we may get another round of heavy rain with some embedded wind late tonight, early tomorrow morning.
So you may see Ryan, Kevin, and Brian until 3 a.m. again tomorrow morning.
And then we'll come in at 2 or 3 o'clock to take over.
Just going to do it all over again. In terms of that 60 plus mile per hour wind gust potential anywhere along the Ohio River and south, we have that chance. And this is with the multiple rounds that Carson mentioned. And then we're going to be keeping an eye on the hail threat. Again, we didn't have a lot of hail reports yesterday. Remember, you can always put in any reports in MPing, that's the letter MPING, that app. And that actually helps us a lot because that allows us to see where those reports are and verify a little bit more what we're seeing on the radar. This also helps the National Weather Service as they're working to do some surveys and find information and see how the severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings verified. So it is very helpful. Please send those in. Download the app. You're also helping with scientific research, so that's awesome.
And that app is totally free.
And it's free.
Totally free.
It is free. So download the Wave Weather app and the MPing app, and you're going to be doing a service for everybody. So as you mentioned, we're talking about 2 rounds of some strong storms possible. The first wave that we're looking at, I pushed it back a little bit to 9 p.m. Just in case the tail end, because you know how our southern counties like to hold on to things a little bit longer.
Yeah, you guys down there.
Not a dig on y'all.
You guys down there in Columbia and Greensburg, Campbellsville. The storms sometimes, especially in this kind of a setup, they hold on a little while longer in our far southern county. So 2 p.m. to 9 p.m., that front starts to lift back north away from Nashville, back closer to us. And that'll kind of crack open that door just a little bit for that severe storm risk this afternoon.
So we'll have to be keeping an eye on that wave moving through, and let's just break it down with the Futurecast a little bit more. So we're seeing that break starting to happen in some spots, a lot more of you starting to dry out, which is good news. But then once we get past lunch and into the afternoon, here we go again. That's that wave of strong thunderstorms that's going to try to move through. And once we get closer to 4 or 5, notice it's still mainly Kentucky. Then we head into the evening. Oh yeah, everybody gets involved.
Yeah, the rain just keeps going into the evening. There's still that chance, especially after 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. There could be some embedded wind gusts. Again, we do not expect the storms tonight to be nearly as severe as what we saw last night or this morning, whatever you want to call it. We keep going past 10 o'clock in the evening. we're going to still see those waves of heavier rain. So I do think that risk for flooding will grow across the entire region as we go later into the night. And that is a terrible combination when you've got flooding at night.
Yes. And unfortunately, we've had a couple of situations over the past couple of days where we've had people driving into debris and trees.
Yes.
And that's kind of a reminder of like when it's dark and you don't know what's going on, you got to take it a little bit slower. I know you're trying to get to your destination, trying to be Speedy Gonzalez a little bit, but you can't do that. You gotta take it slow. We showed you that we've had around 1 to 2 to in some cases near 3 inches of rainfall. Then we're going to add on to that. Notice south of the parkways, as Carson mentioned, South Central Kentucky, 2, 3, 4 inches of additional rain across the area. So, grab your floaties, as I told Ryan.
Right. So Central Kentucky is the zone today for the heaviest rain. Friday, it looks like it's going to be further north, up towards the metro into southern Indiana. Then I'm optimistic that we'll get a little bit of a break Friday afternoon and Friday night.
Yes.
But that will set the stage for perhaps yet another round of severe weather on Saturday.
We could be hanging out again Saturday.
You might be coming in on a weekend again. Everybody's been coming and hanging out with me on weekends lately.
Yeah, I mean, that's just because we like you. Not because of the severe stuff. We just like you.
keep me company.
Keep me company. Because you listen, Carson, you work a lot over the weekend. So we're keeping an eye on everything. I wanted to include this as well, the potential river stage. Notice everywhere you see that magenta, purple color, and red. That's where in the next week we can have a river, so that doesn't include the Ohio, getting into that moderate or major flood stage. So
for the Kentucky River in particular, or the Rolling Fork, I should say, I misspoke. The Kentucky River too, up near Frankfort, it's forecast to go into major flood stage. The Rolling Fork down in Bullitt County, it's forecast to go into flood stage. For the Ohio in particular, right now, it's forecast to go into moderate stage, but that is still enough to cause significant issues in downtown. It's going to shut down River Road. You're not going to be able to turn right onto River Road off 64 next week. And for those of you planning for thunder next weekend, a lot of the waterfront's going to be closed off. I'm afraid.
Yeah. So that could be an Indiana and Kentucky issue on both sides. So we'll have to see how everything goes in terms of planning for that and how they are going to be dealing with things as things evolve over the next 7 days, really. And by the way, there are some other options in terms of watching. They don't usually cancel thunder.
No, I wouldn't expect that.
We're going to adapt. We are very adaptable, but it's not just, of course, the river that we're watching, but that severe risk. It does drop off tomorrow, which is certainly some good news. And then Saturday it bumps right back up because of, unfortunately, that little wonderful break we get on Friday night.
That's the problem. It allows us to kind of fuel back up, and you get this last low pressure that's going to ride along this stalled front, the last low that's finally going to get this stuff out of here. But with it will come another risk for strong to severe storms. It looks like Saturday afternoon and especially Saturday evening, where we'll have to watch for that severe storm risk to go up again. But let's be clear, as we've talked about, the threats you see over the next 3 days, they are not nearly as high as they were last night and this morning. Still need to be watched, but hopefully we can escape those without too much harm.
Yeah, and in terms of like the totals when we're done with this map hasn't changed very much. This is including everything. Some parts of Kentucky, Indiana, west of Louisville especially could see those 8+ inch totals by the time everything is said and done. So this is one of those situations you stay weather aware. You make sure that you're not driving through any water. Oh, please don't do that. Begging you on that. Want to make sure everyone is staying safe. And then by the time we get into next week, we're just gonna.
Tawana's been really struggling with next week.
I don't like it.
The reason why is it gets chilly. This is not unheard of in the second week of April, but
I spy a spammer. Well, I'll deal with that.
Those spammers have been they've been rough.
They've been everywhere. No, not trying to show the spammer, trying to get rid of the spammer. What is going on? Well, apparently won't let me do that right now. So
it's on Twitch, unfortunately. But when you look at the temperatures over the next 10, especially next week, highs in the 40s.
Lows below freezing.
There's a couple disturbances that slide through, giving us a few showers and.
Say the word. Say the word, Carson. Say the word.
Do we dare say snowflakes? Possible. possible.
The thing is that it's been showing up
Mm.
for, I think, 4 days now, that chance for a little bit of snow Monday night and Tuesday.
Yeah, Monday night into Tuesday, there might be a few flurries mixing in with the rain showers. Late next week, not so much. We'll watch it, but it's really Monday night and Tuesday when there could be a few flurries in the mix. And then as we get towards Thunder Weekend,
it's just rain.
It's just cool and damp, unfortunately. So now are we talking, the numbers that we're going to see the next few days? No, but
it's just bad timing.
It is bad timing. Thunder's a week earlier this year because of the Easter holiday, the way it landed this year. And it always seems like whenever they have to move Thunder up a week, we have problems.
I mean, we can have Thunder and then go to church on Easter Sunday.
I mean, Saturday night, do it a little earlier, do it like, I don't know, 8:30.
And just push the Sunday services back like 2 hours so everybody can recoup a little bit, and then we're fine.
So we'll keep an eye on that as we get towards next weekend. But obviously, the pressing matters are going to be now through Saturday night when it comes to the alert days and the severe weather threat. But you see Sunday, we're still going to be dealing with rain, especially early in the day.
And then the falling temperatures on Sunday as well should be pretty interesting, starting off in the 50s, ending up in the 30s by Sunday night, because that's the Ohio Valley doesn't let us, just relax for a little bit, does something interesting all the time. So yeah, we just gotta keep our eyes on it.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna ditch you for a second, Carson. I gotta go do the morning meeting. But yeah, I guess we just answer any questions that we got going on. And I think Adam Belcher noticed what I noticed.
Yeah, I saw your comment, Adam. All right. Thank you, Tawana. Appreciate you, girl.
Thank you.
All right. So give me just a second here, guys, and we'll answer some questions. Remember, this is News World after all, so we have to provide weather briefings for our news colleagues and talk about the areas they need to go check out when it comes to damage and things of that sort. So we have those meetings with our news department every morning around this time. So Tawana is going to take care of that, and I'll hang out with you here for a few more minutes as we continue to discuss this alert day setup, and I'll answer some of your comments or questions and comments as well. We appreciate the 695 of you that are hanging out with us this morning. Let's see. Sean says, hello from Brownsboro. I'm tired. No kidding. Aren't we all? Goodness. Whenever you have severe weather in the middle of the night, you don't have to be just a meteorologist to not get much sleep. Everybody struggles, right? Let's see. Virginia says, please tell us no more tornadoes. Well, we can't say that definitively, Virginia. I wish we could. There's still at least a small chance for a tornado a few more times, one of which would be late this afternoon across southern Kentucky, another of which would be Saturday in particular. I think the severe threat on Friday is pretty low. It would be tomorrow, or this afternoon, and then again Saturday evening. There could be a couple more spin-up tornadoes. Is the risk as high as what we saw this morning or late last night? No, which is good. Sean, we were talking about earlier, which one of you had sleep last night? Neither of us really did, but we made it through. Let's see. Forgive me for the silent pauses. I always want to read your comments, make sure we're all in good shape. Let's see. Oh, here's a scary comment that April's sharing with us. April woke up to pieces of insulation all over the neighborhood off Flat Rock Road. Goodness. Sorry to hear that, April. Hopefully your home is okay, but that is frightening. That is definitely frightening. Caitlin's asking about where in Scott County that possible tornado was. Let me pull up the radar and I'll show you. It was mainly western Scott County where we had the issues last night. Tornado touchdown near South Boston in Washington County. At least it appears as if that's what happened. And as we go back, kind of zoom in and show you the area we were looking at. So again, this is where we believe there was a tornado touchdown in Washington County into Scott County, Indiana last night. It was around 11:30. So we'll kind of backtrack here. So we started to see that rotation just north of Daisy Hill, which is close to South Boston there in Washington County. And it continued to, speeding up on me. It continued into far western Scott County near Leota. And eventually, at least the debris signature that we saw lifted near Vienna in Scott County. So it kind of, if there was a tornado on the ground that entire time, it likely started near South Boston and Washington County, crossed the county line near New Salem, went just south of Leota, and that debris signature made it all the way to 65. So there may have been a tornado on the ground trying to cross I-65, but once it got to 65, it dissipated as it approached Vienna. So Leota and Vienna were the communities, Caitlin, in Scott County, where we had that possible tornado last night. Donna says, fantastic job with the reporting. Thank you for the kind words. All credit to Kevin and Brian and Ryan. I mean, they were here for hours yesterday and into this morning, 12 to 16 hours, maybe longer than that. I would imagine most of them are still asleep at this hour. Understandably so. Let's see here. Tim is watching us on Facebook. Damage put on Faganbush Lane and Peppermill Road, electric out in that area on his way to work this morning. We appreciate that report, Tim. We didn't see much rotation in that part of town over there off Faganbush, so that would likely be straight line winds, that kind of damage in that area. But we appreciate all the reports nonetheless. Scott says, thanks for the coverage. Of course, that's what we're here for. That's our job, is to keep you guys safe every step of the way. Let me zoom out radar so you guys can look at something live while we go through these comments. Leslie says, I'm dragging this morning too, and I haven't been on TV. Yeah, I mean, you guys know these overnight severe weather events are always causing trouble. Always causing trouble. Ryan says, caffeinated Tawana is quite entertaining. It is very entertaining. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's funny. Gerald's asking about a trip to Nashville. I like your Facebook profile picture there, Gerald, of the Predators mascot. That's cool. Will the weather cooperate a bit? Well, it will a little earlier in the day. It will a little bit early in the day. I think it's going to be fairly dry Saturday morning, perhaps into Saturday afternoon. But by Saturday afternoon, we're going to be watching storms to our west that will be moving in. Those storms could be severe once again, heading into Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. Brandon's asking, any significant chances of severe weather? I know we're in a slight risk, but the moderate and high risk need to take a break. I agree. I do not foresee additional moderate or high risk over the next few days. I think it's likely going to be in that slight risk zone, which is level 2 risk on that 1 to 5 scale. Moderate risk is a 4, high risk is a 5. You don't get those very often. Last night was rather rare. We only get those kind of outbreaks in the entire United States once or twice a year. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we won't have any more moderate or high risk, but we still need to pay attention. You know, we don't want to totally let our guards down when it comes to the severe weather threat. It's just going to be a little bit lower than what we've had to deal with last night and early this morning. Lydia says, good morning. Thank you all for everything. Of course, glad to do it. Hey, you're back. Mm-hmm. Hang on a second, guys. Let's get everything fixed back up so my friend can rejoin me, okay? Hang tight. Oh. I pulled a fast one. All right.
Oh, I was hiding behind you.
Now, I had to adjust your camera because you're not as tall as I am.
Okay. I feel like that.
Okay.
You didn't have to call me out like that.
I couldn't help it.
I am 5'2" on a good day.
Here, let me fix it.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
No, I got you.
No, we can show the people how short I really am. It's fine. It's fine. I'm currently standing on the box, y'all. So it looks somewhat comparable in height.
Somebody said in the comments, it's really entertaining when you're caffeinated.
When I'm caffeinated?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, so I don't really drink a lot of coffee in general. I did have a cafe con leche K-cup about an hour ago, and it is fully kicking in. So don't worry, I will mellow out by the time we get to the 11
I was going to say, Tawana will be doing midday today for Brian since
he was here until 3 o'clock in the morning, and Kevin was here until 4:30.
Yeah, we
had to kick him out. Actually,
we were going on the air with our sunrise newscast at 4:30, and the boss was still here.
And we're like, "We love you, Kevin.
Go home.
Leave."
Let's see. Virginia, of course, reminding us: turn around, don't drown.
Yes, please.
Please.
Please. We've had too much of that happening recently, and we don't want that.
Let's see. A lot of thank yous from last night.
Yes, the guys did an amazing job.
Yeah, they did.
Last night. I know Brian was exhausted because he came into work around like 8 or 9 o'clock yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Worked his normal shift, left. He allegedly rested for 2 hours, and then he came back. So yeah, they worked very, very hard.
Carrie says he will take the cool and sunny over the hot with the tornadoes and the flooding.
Honestly, I will take the cool, rainy weather that we have next week over what we have right now. I'd rather not deal with any more severe weather.
We're getting into a pattern next week where it's still a little active, but it's not necessarily severe active. Which
we can deal with that. And you know what? I get to bring back out my boots. So it's fine.
Right.
It's fine. I didn't want to do it.
Patty has a good question. What's the difference between a tornado and a landspout? So that is a good question. Tornadoes basically involve
thunderstorms, rotations, supercells,
rotations in the atmosphere, things like that. Landspouts, they kind of, it's basically a ground interaction.
Yeah, it's more of think an aggressive dust devil. I think that's a better way to describe it. There's still some of that rotation, but it's not as much from the top down. It's more like from the bottom up, kind of a situation. So, Chris, thanks, Chris. Poor Tawana.
You're right, Chris.
I mean, waking up usually with a 12:30 alarm isn't, normal for me, but waking up with a tornado siren is a different one.
Yeah. Mary Grace asked, will the rest of the weekend be as severe as last night? No, it will not. Will there be a few severe storms? Probably, potentially this afternoon, and then again on Saturday afternoon and evening, but we just don't see it as intense as what we had last night. Thank goodness.
Thankfully.
Angela says, hello. It was a long night, but the coverage y'all provided was top notch.
Top notch.
We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
We'll say that on behalf of the guys, which I would imagine they're still sleeping. I hope they are.
We know one of them isn't.
DT is watching us out in Eastwood.
Ooh.
No damage in Eastwood.
Good. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that went right over you. And some parts of your area really got hammered.
What we were concerned about is that debris signature on radar. It was still there in Eastwood. Now, DT, you're saying there's no damage in Eastwood, which leads us to believe that was likely debris that got picked up earlier in the tornado's path, and it just kept flying around in the air.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear, DT, that you're okay. Ashley's asking, where in Southern Kentucky is that tornado risk? You want to pop that slight risk?
I forgot we have multiple mice.
I'm controlling. I didn't plan this well. I'm controlling the mouse on that computer across from me. Tawana's doing the same with the one next to me.
So we're working on opposite computers. We're trying to get this loaded. Okay, so this is where we have that tornado potential. Ooh, y'all, I can do this. I promise. I am halfway decent at my job. Yeah. So it's along and south of the parkways that we have the better potential for that severe weather. So basically, E-Town South. Ashley, I think if I remember correctly, you're in the E-Town area.
Yep.
Shout out to Ashley, who is always on our pages when there's severe weather. But really watching the Hart, Greene, Taylor, Adair County a little bit more than you, Ashley. So just keep that in mind.
And that's really mainly for this afternoon.
Yes. Yeah. For this afternoon into the early evening hours. And it's not going to be as much as what we were seeing yesterday, where like some of those tornadoes, especially outside of our area, stayed on the ground for a while. It's more like it's there, it's gone kind of a situation, which is why it's going to be super important to be paying attention to the weather.
It'll be those situations where, quite honestly, the tornado might touch down in between radar scans.
That's entirely possible. Again,
they're only on the ground for 2 or 3 minutes at a time. Gigi's asking about the timing of the storms this afternoon. We're thinking 2 to about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And again, that's mainly in our far southern counties, along and south of the parkways in particular. We want to get more specific. Hart, Greene, Taylor, and Adair counties in particular. That's really kind of the main focus for our area later on this afternoon. See here, Adam's asking, are we not getting 6 to 12 inches of rain?
No, we are.
Yeah.
We are, because remember, that is that total for, what was yesterday? Wednesday.
So that factors in what we've already seen.
Yes, and goes all the way into early Sunday.
Yeah.
So it is that entire time frame that we are watching. It's not just like a today thing. I mean, some parts of our area can get 4 inches of rain just today, though.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind.
It's not going to be a steady climb in those rainfall totals. There's going to be breaks like what we have now in the metro and in southern Indiana. A nice break. Later on today, that rain's going to fill back in.
Exactly.
So now I think it'll be more on that 6, 8, 10 range. Not all of us are going to see a foot of rain.
Yeah.
Some will, especially further south and west.
So we're keeping an eye on. Actually, you know what? While you're doing that, since we're multitasking over here,
Jessica, another thank you.
So this is that rainfall total map.
We appreciate the kind words. Yeah, here is that rainfall map, and again, this factors in what we've already seen and what's still yet to come.
Exactly.
So Louisville, Jeffersonville, the Knobs, Corydon, Salem, Paoli, Jasper, Brandenburg, Hardinsburg. That's where we could see at least 8 inches of rain. Some could get as high as a foot of rain. Again, that's going to be the exception rather than the norm, but we can't rule it out over the next few days.
Yeah, especially if we get any of those like heftier thunderstorms, they'll easily drop quite a bit as well. So that could add some isolated higher totals here and there as well.
We'll do a few more questions and then we got to wrap things up so that you can get ready for the 11.
Yes.
And
chill out a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see. A lot of thank yous. We appreciate it. Again, credit to the guys. I don't know how they do it. I watched them when I was a kid and they're still doing it. It's crazy. I know. Anyway.
They're getting their feelings about.
Let's see. Jacob's asking about in the long term, anything that gets our attention. Not when it comes to a severe threat. Once we get past Saturday night, quite honestly, the weather pattern isn't really conducive for severe weather. It's cooler, it's damp at times, which is not unheard of in early to mid-April, but that's where we're heading next week.
Hopefully we warm up for Derby. That's my main concern.
Hopefully we don't have...
hold on, scroll back up. Casey. Victoria Talbert says, hey, watching you in Fairdale. Tell Victoria that she did not pick up my call last night when I was calling her about the damaging winds going towards her house. So she's put her phone on loud. No, I love Victoria, but don't be like Victoria. Have multiple ways to get alerts when you're asleep.
Let's see.
I do love Victoria, though. I'll also say hi to my godson, please. Thank you.
Of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about today, April 3rd, 51 years ago, the super outbreak of 74. And what is it about this first week of April?
I don't know, because last year, we had the Jeffersonville tornado that went into Prospect. And then April 3rd, of course, that massive outbreak. So I guess the first week of one of our producers actually asked me this question, and why is it that we see first week of April always issues? I say it's because we make terrible jokes on April Fool's Day, and this is what happens afterwards.
It seems that way.
It
always spring break week.
Yeah.
It always seems like something around spring break.
It's just whenever we're trying to rest, trying to chill out a little bit, I guess.
It's just kind of that we get into that peak of the severe season, our
There we
peak
go.
severe season around here in the first week of April. And obviously that'll keep going through the rest of April and into
hopefully
May.
not into May.
Hopefully not into May.
Hopefully not. We
Right.
don't need
Adam thinks you are hilariously entertaining.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
mhm.
This is me slightly delusional.
Michelle, she just joined in. Storms today, yes. Yes, there's a greater risk for storms this afternoon between 2 and 8 o'clock. Tawana's going to get the chances up here in just a second.
It's loading.
Again, a lot of us are seeing some dry time right now, but that rain coverage will really ramp up just after lunchtime. And we still got that window from 2 to 9 for maybe a few stronger storms in our southern counties in particular.
Yes.
So
we'll be watching everybody, but especially Kentucky for today. Just have that wave weather app ready to go. Notifications turned on, your location turned on. If you're going to work and then coming back home, make sure it's set to follow you. So that way, no matter where you are. And by the way, for those of you who have that set to follow you, when you get back home, sometimes it doesn't hurt to reopen the app and double check it and then close it back, because that way you're making sure that it actually has your specific location, because it does read your location every time you open it.
Right.
So it might not hurt to reopen it as soon as you get home or as soon as you get to work, so you can get those notifications as soon as you're in that spot.
Sarah has a question. We mentioned it earlier. Are they going to do storm surveys today or wait? We have reason to believe they're going to wait for a couple of reasons. Number one, the weather is still active, especially with the flooding risk. Number two, they're short-staffed. We won't get into all the reasons why, but they are short-staffed. So as long as there is still an active weather pattern, as long as there's still a severe threat, be it severe storms or flooding, they're going to focus on that versus storm surveys.
Yes. So this is why your pictures are so informative and they're so helpful, because we pass that along to them. So that way they have that information as well. So maybe like we get additional storms or we get additional rain, and that kind of tampers, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, that tampers. Yeah, tampers with what has already happened. That's something that really is helpful for them and us as well, so we can keep an eye on what has happened and how things are evolving over the next couple of days.
Judy's watching us in Hart County. Yes. Yeah, keep an eye on those storms later on today, Judy, from 2 to 9 p.m. There could be a few stronger storms down your way. You're kind of our main focus today when it comes to the severe storm potential.
And I see Doug has a question. The flooding risk for Southern Indiana. You don't have as much of a flooding risk today, but as we get into Friday and Saturday and early Sunday, you have all those rounds of rain. So your totals are still going to add up. You're just not going to see as much rain today. So I don't want anybody to put their guards down and be like, oh yeah, we're fine, we're dry right now. No, we still have more.
Remember, it's not only waves, but the waves will be fluctuating from north to south. So again, you might be dry right now, which is really count that as a blessing.
Yes.
Because tonight into tomorrow and possibly Saturday, your flooding risk will go up. It's not going to be a steady climb in those rain totals. It's going to be break, boom, break, boom.
It's the worst set of stairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Possible.
Exactly.
So
we'll do one more comment or question here. Candace asking, was there a tornado in Shepherdsville last night? We haven't heard of any damage in Bullitt County.
We haven't heard of any Bullitt County damage. Probably got a decent bit of strong wind.
Yes.
Even with that batch of thunderstorms that moved through earlier this morning, but we haven't heard of any damage. If you have any damage, please let us know.
Now, we did have those storms, the tornadoes in Bullitt County Sunday night.
Yes.
But we do not believe there was anything last night. It was really just wind in Bullitt County.
So,
all right.
You
ready to go knock out another show?
Yeah, my feet hurt a little bit. I'll be entirely honest. I wore my platform shoes because I knew you were going to be here, so I wanted to be a little bit taller.
The ladies on
they're not as comfortable.
The ladies on the Sunrise crew, I don't. Y'all like having me when I'm here during the week, but you also don't like it because I'm a little taller than them. So,
between you and Josh, we're used to it.
There's a quick look at the 10-day. Again, just stay weather aware over the next few days. Be careful as you're out and about today, not only with flood waters, but also leftover debris from where we had storms last night. And then we'll just take it one day at a time. through the weekend.
Yeah, we got this, y'all. We got this. We'll be slightly over caffeinated by the time we head into Sunday morning, but we got this.
We appreciate you guys watching. Tawana will have an updated look at your forecast coming up on midday at 11. And then Brian may or may not do a blog.
Yeah, we need to figure out if he's going to wake up.
That
man is exhausted. We'll
see.
Rightfully so, because they worked pretty hard yesterday. We know that Kevin will probably be back in the station by 2 o'clock.
Yeah, Kevin and Ryan.
So we'll see him in like 4 hours.
Yeah, they'll likely do a update this afternoon here on Wave Weather Now as well. All right, guys, that's going to do it for now. We appreciate you watching. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We will see you again on TV at 11 and here on Wave Weather Now this afternoon. Take care.